Thank you, folks. Good morning to you. I am thrilled to see the numbers that are here today. And it speaks volumes of the times we're in, and I hope it speaks to your commitment to change the way we do business here. It is my pleasure and task, not an easy one, to follow our governor, a new governor. And I want to start by saying this. I met with the governor very soon after he took office, and I said to him with all sincerity, I said, yes, I'm in the minority party, but I and my caucus wish you nothing but good luck, good health, good judgment, good luck, because we all live in the state of Connecticut. I know it sounds corny, folks, but unless our governor succeeds, we will not succeed. So we are committed to working with the governor. You saw a very successful man before you just a few moments ago, a well-spoken man, a very intelligent man, a man that certainly make no mistake about it, when he walks in the room, we know who's in charge. We needed that. I like that. You just heard from a man who during the campaign, during his transition period, and certainly during the first 45 days of his administration, talked about shared sacrifice. He talked about taking that road less traveled. He talked about making Connecticut open for business. There is no one in this room that could disagree with what he said. He said we're going to do things differently. His first executive order was to institute GAP, the generally accepted accounting principles that all of you and all our municipalities are forced to live in, and yet by some reason we always dodged. And he did it. He said shared sacrifice would include concessions by our state employees, and as a Democrat, he stood up and said, I'm going to ask you to give me $1 billion per year for the next 2 years. That takes a lot of guts, especially as a Democrat. It takes a lot of guts. My hat's off to him. He said that we have to make government a little smaller, so we have to consolidate and make more efficient the various agencies and boards and commissions that we have. And in his budget, he proposes taking 87 commissions and bringing it down to 56. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. And he said, as I said earlier, Connecticut is open for business. That's a good thing. How can I stand here and disagree with that? That's not my job to do that. I applaud that. But here's the rub, guys. Here's the rub. On February 16th, when he dropped that budget on our desk, I don't know about you folks, but I'll ask you. When you read the budget, when the details sort of seeped through the psyche, were you slapping each other five in the boardrooms? Were there back slaps at the water coolers? Our day has come. Business is changing. Connecticut's open for business? I don't think so. I don't think so. Because when we were led and our expectations were set by this governor about shared sacrifice, one of the things many of us knew was there's a whole bunch of people out there that have already been sacrificing. They have sacrificed and continue to sacrifice. Oh, maybe it's not within the four corners of any budget document, but it's in the fact that your profits are down, that you've had the difficult task time and time again to look across the table and tell people who've worked for you for several years, I'm sorry, I can't afford to keep you anymore. Or maybe you had to send out a notice saying, we got to cut back on your health benefits. Or maybe if you worked 40 hours, you got to work 32 because we just can't afford to keep you right now. What's not reflected in the four corners of a budget document is the fact that you've sacrificed with no fault of your own when you get that electric bill and it went up, when you get the health insurance bill and it went up, when your cable bill went up, when the food bill went up, when the tuition payment went up. That is a daily sacrifice that people in this state have endured that are not in the four corners of any budget document. And how is it spelled out? The governor himself said it. We have an unemployment rate higher than the national average. We lost over 100,000 jobs in the last 2 years. 15,000 businesses closed their doors. And another fact, many of you might not know, I've said it many times, 73% of the businesses in the state of Connecticut have 9 or less employees. 53% have 4 or less employees. With all due respect to the large companies here, God bless you, please stay and grow. But the backbone of this state are the small businesses, the mom and pops, the small manufacturers. So when you see all that and you hear all that, and then you see this document, you say, okay, we're going to share some sacrifice. And the expectation in our mind, CBIA has championed, you have to cut spending. You have to cut spending. You have to cut spending. Because the more you spend, the more you have to tax. If we didn't spend it, we wouldn't have to tax it. So what do we find when we look at that document? As I said to the governor's staff when they did a preview of the budget, I asked a simple question because, you know, in government, we talk in government speak, out years and adjusted for inflation, current services, budget expectation, blah, blah, blah. Here was the question. I do it on a 4th grade level. How much does it cost to run government today? All in. The answer was $19.3 billion a year. I said, how much does the governor propose to spend to run government next year? The answer was $19.7 billion. I said, how about the year after? $20.2 billion. Now, I'm no genius, but that doesn't sound like cutting spending to me. Now, you see how we'll get away with it. How we'll get away with it is saying, well, if you project out what it should have been, I actually cut back and it's 7. If I spent $10 last year, when I cut, that means I'm going to spend $7 this year. That's my definition of a cut. So we didn't cut. The budget proposed increases spending by almost $1 billion over 2 years, folks. And people started scratching their head going, where's the sacrifice? Where's the sacrifice? We were told that we'd take a path not before traveled, that the shared sacrifice included tax increases. We had to suck it up. We were told that that would not happen until every stone was unturned. Every couch cushion was picked up, looked for the spare change. Every efficiency was made. So I asked a second question when I was with the governor's staff. I said, how many people do we employ currently to run state government? The answer was approximately full-time equivalents, 47,000 people. I said, okay. How many full-time equivalents, that's what I was told by the governor's staff, I'd take him at his word. I said, how many less people, shared sacrifice, smaller government, how many less people will we have under the governor's budget? The answer was 150. That's when you scratch your head, folks, and say, wait a minute, who's sharing here? I asked another question. I said, how many of our state services that we provide are we looking to privatize, to unload? Because we are firm believers, many of us, that the more government tries to do, the less they do well. None. The answer was none. I said, of all the billions of dollars of state assets, state buildings, land, etc., how much of it are we unloading, trying to make government smaller? The answer was first none, and then, oh, wait a minute, there's a small police barracks, 2-person police barracks in southeastern Connecticut. We're going to close that right up. So, you see, folks, I don't disagree with one thing that the governor said. But what he did doesn't jibe with what he said. Because increasing spending and raising taxes, is that the road less traveled? I've been down that road before you. We increased taxes in the governor's budget by $1.5 billion by his estimate, by some others close to $2 billion. See, some of those tax increases go to municipalities that he's proposed. But I got to tell you, folks, whether they go to municipalities, Washington, Hartford, it's all coming out of the same pocket. same checkbook. Doesn't matter who you're writing a check to. That money's coming out of the same pocket of those people, as we discussed earlier, that have had a little less hours given to them, a little more expensive health policies. The cost of everything they do in life has gone up, and they're scratching their head going, where's the shared sacrifice? Somebody ain't sharing here, folks. So what do we have to do? Well, it sounds simplistic, but CBIA had it right the first time. Cut spending. Cut spending. Cut spending. That is the message that has to be loud and clear here. If we are truly going to take that path less traveled, then let's do it. You know, the governor, as I indicated before, as far as a concept, did the right thing. He consolidated 87 agencies into 56. But when he asked, how much did all that save you out of a $19 billion budget? And the answer is $10 million. Something's wrong with that, folks. You see, if I have Agency A and Agency B, and I say I'm going to consolidate them and call it Agency C, but I don't change their location, I don't change the amount of people that work there, I don't change the way they do business, I don't change their bottom line, then what did I do? I didn't consolidate, I just renamed it. That's not a road less traveled. It's the same road. Make us go down the other road. You are here today in great numbers. Feel it, folks. The state and future of Connecticut rests in what we do in this building in the next few months, and how and what we do will be in large part influenced by you. Please do not make this the last time you visit this Capitol and LOB in the next year. Hold my feet to the fire. Get in my face. Get in the face of every legislator in this building, because now it's our turn. The governor did what he's constitutionally supposed to do, gave us a budget. Now we got to come up with one. And we need your help. Because believe me, unfortunately, as an editorial comment, the people who share the view that I have are in the minority. Oh yes, our numbers are growing, but we're still in the minority. That mindset, that concept, that culture that we just described that could be is a minority concept. We need to make it a majority concept. Now, I can't do that by having elections that elect more people of like mind, because elections are over for a couple years. But you could do that by getting in the face of each and every one of us, Democrat, Republican, urban legislator, suburban legislator, rural legislator, first-timer or veteran. Demand it. Demand it. You have sacrificed. It's government's turn. Let's cut spending. Make us do it. Thank you very much.